When we're using fall arrest systems such as a full body harness, shock absorber like this set up here in an EWP or similar, things that we should be looking for, there is actually a checklist which is going to be in the industry standard when it comes out. We're looking at stuff like the webbings, making sure all our webbing is intact and our harness is in good condition. Going over and looking at all the stitching on the harness to make sure that the stitching is in good condition also. We also want to make sure all our snap hooks are working properly and are in good condition. Further than that, we're looking at our buckles and our adjusters to make sure that they are all in good condition and working properly. And then also to our D-rings, make sure that they're in good condition, not worn, or any of the stitching around those are defective, if you like. And then the other thing with our shock absorption is we want to make sure that that's obviously in good condition. If it's been deployed at all, then we shouldn't be using it, okay? When we look at the distance that this opens up on the, as we can see there on our inspection, when we're looking at it, it's all up to standard. It also talks about the maximum extension, 1.75 metres on this one. The maximum allowable free fall is 2 metres. Okay, so the manufacturer's specifications and making sure that they're all in good condition as well. The other thing we need to take into consideration when we're using these is the height that we're using them at. One of the key things that we find, or I find especially out in industry with a lot of roof plumbers and the like, when they're using harnesses, things like these things, they're using them at a height, you know, on a single story roof, for instance. When we look through our industry standard and our compliance code for prevention of falls in general construction, we talk about the height that we need to be working at for one of these to be useful, and that height is 6.5 metres. One of the key things we need to look at is if my attachment point, my D-shackle is up behind my head, which it is once the harness is on, I'll look at that. If I'm 1.8 metres tall, I've got 1.75 metres there of extension plus 2 metres of free fall. Then we're looking at 3.7 metres plus 1.8. If anyone's good at maths, I'm probably not great, but we're looking at around 4.5 metres. Once we start to fall 4.5 metres on a single story, average single story is around 3 metres, we're going to hit the ground. So both of our compliance code and our industry standard both talk about that fall height being around that 6.5 metre mark, which allows for the absorption of the shock absorber, the free fall, the height of the person, plus about a metre clearance underneath once they do extend out. Very important. One of the other key things when we are using a harness and a lanyard setup like this is using the system of work, I guess, that we're using this with. One of the key questions I often ask people when they use harnesses, are you using that in fall arrest or fall restraint? And a lot of times the answer to that question is, I don't know what you mean, what are you talking about? Fall arrest, obviously, is we're allowed to fall and the harness system catches us when we fall. Fall arrest, or fall restraint, I should say, actually stops us to getting to the point where we can fall. So it's a different type of setup. It's still attached to us, but I can get to a certain point and I can't get any further to the point where I can fall. That's what we call fall restraint. On our hierarchy controlled fall restraint systems are a higher level of protection than what fall arrest is.